Hello everybody, Joe here with 360 Comics. Today we're going to be going over the contents of a bulk collection that I bought. A bulk collection meaning a ton of comics for not a lot of money. I got a great deal and found some really good books hidden among all the other stuff. Quick reminder, make sure you enter our 1,200 subscriber giveaway here on YouTube. You can win this copy of Alpha Flight #1, the first book of their solo series, and the first appearance of Puck and many others. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up for a like, and leave a comment down below. You can also go back to our last video and all future videos and do the same on those videos for additional entries. It'll go all the way until we hit the 1,200 subscriber mark, and then I will be picking a random comment from a subscriber, and they will win this book right here. Before we get into the contents of this collection, let me give you a little bit of background information on it. Basically, this collection fell right into my lap. There's a guy at my LCS. He's another customer that's there every Wednesday buying books, and I met him through that and follow him on Instagram as well. And you guys should follow him too. I'm going to put his Instagram right down there, Pope of Chilitown. And he messaged me one day and said that he bought a couple lots of books from an auction house. He had taken all the keys out that he either wanted to sell or things that he wanted for his personal collection, and he wanted to just bulk out the rest of the lower value stuff. He said he had about 6 long boxes worth of stuff, which is definitely over 1,000 books, probably closer to the 1,500 book mark. And he said he just wanted $200. He wanted it gone, wanted to clear out the space before the new year. And I said, you know what? That sounds like a great deal. If you divide 1,500 by 200, or sorry, divide the $200 by 1,500 books, it comes out to about 12.5 cents a book. So even paying somewhere between 12 and 15 cents per book gives you a lot of room to make some money, even when there's a lot of lower value bulk stuff. And stick around to the end of the video because we're going to talk about the exact prices of everything and how much I think I'll eventually make off of this collection, as well as how much time it's going to take me to do so, because these things, they don't just sell in a snap like that, like a bigger key would. This lower value stuff takes some time. Anyway, I'm going to show you the books that are above the $5 mark. So there was a ton of stuff, which I'll talk about later, as far as dollar books, $3 books, and $5 books. But all the books in this video are above the $5 mark. So let's get into it. The first batch of books that I'm going to show you today all have a value of about $7 or $8. Kicking it off right here with Superman 666. It's got this awesome demonic Superman cover. And this came out the same year as Batman 666, which also did the same kind of thing with the cover. The Batman book is worth considerably more because it is a key issue. It features the first appearance of Damian Wayne as Batman. It's set 16 years in the future, and it's also the first appearance of a character named Professor Pig. For that reason, that book's a lot more valuable, but I think the value of that pulls up the value of this a little bit because people like to have them as a pair, as a set. So this Superman 666, about $7. Same thing here with this Invincible Iron Man book. It would be considerably more, but it is low grade. It's got some inking up here. It feels like it might have gotten some water damage at some point. It's a little bit wavy. Definitely could utilize a press. This is, I believe, the last 15-cent issue of Iron Man. Typically, when Marvel was changing their prices, they would have a red price icon for the last issue before a price hike. So I bet the next issue was a 20-center. But don't quote me on that. I might not be right about that. That being said, this book would be about $20 if it was in higher grade or at least mid-grade, but probably about $7 as is. Still $7 here. We got Bishop, What If, starring Bishop, #1. This is a one-shot, and I think the value of this book completely comes from how popular the character of Bishop is, and A lot of people my age and a little bit older, a little bit younger, are really hype on Bishop. We grew up with him as a character during the early mid 90s, and we all want to see him done right in the MCU. That's for sure. For that reason, this book is, you know, worth a little bit more than you would think it would be. I kind of thought this was a dollar book, but recent sold listings are about $7, and this is a character that I could definitely see not only showing up in the MCU soon due to all the time travel, but also being a bigger part of it. So we'll have to see about that. But next up, we got Fantastic Four 296, and this is one of the books for the Marvel Anniversary month. Every major title had one of these covers where one of the main characters was showcased on the front, is kind of like a headshot, and a bunch of Marvel characters lined the outside of the book. A lot of people collect this as a set, so even the books that aren't as popular, aren't key issues by any means, are worth a couple bucks because people like to have all of them. The nice thing about this, it's also a newsstand, which was a little bit more rare in the later part of the 1980s. Next up, we got Power of Shazam number 46, and all the value of this book lies in the cover. It's an homage cover to a Superman book. I don't remember exactly which number. I believe it was in the 200s, but it's got Shazam and Superman on the cover. Really well done, and people pick it up just for the cover alone. We see that a lot. This last one, we got Conan the Barbarian movie special number 1. This was a 2-part miniseries, and it goes along with the Conan the Barbarian movie that came out at the time. And the both books sell for about $7 or $8, 15 together. Unfortunately, there was no number 2, but there was a second copy of number 1. And I'm going to be on the lookout for a number 2 to go along with this. But like I said, even on its own, it does sell. Just it would be better to have it with the other book. And that's it for the $7 books. Let's move on to the $10 books. There's a reason I put this first $10 book in the beginning of the video, and that's because it is one of my favorite pickups from this collection. We've got Justice League Europe number 33. Now, the key significance of this book has absolutely nothing to do with the Justice League or the story or anything like that. It has to do with a 16-page like ad preview, almost like kind of thing, storyline, whatever. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's got basically a full Sonic the Hedgehog comic inside the middle pages of this book. Sonic the Hedgehog had just premiered in comics a few months before, in September of 1991. Now, he premiered in a comic that was not by a major publisher. It was not highly circulated. It's very scarce, very valuable at this point, very collectible. People are always looking for it, and it is pricey. That being said, just a couple months later, in December of 1991, this took the Sonic story and put it in the middle of here, more of as an advertisement probably for the video game. I'm not really sure what they meant to do with this, but nonetheless, because it's an early Sonic the Hedgehog and comic appearance, it's worth about $10. Now, you got to be careful because a lot of people pulled the Sonic story out of the middle of this book, and they're missing. This one is not. Fortunately, it is completely intact. Sonic is in there, and you'll always want to check and look out for that, just in case someone had pulled it out. Next up on the $10 book list, we got Eternals number 13. This is the first appearance of the Forgotten One, who is later renamed Gilgamesh. If you've seen the Eternal movies, you know he's one of the main characters. In fact, he was my favorite part of that movie, I think. I really liked his connection with what's her name, Thena, Angelina Jolie's character, and how they go live out in the country together. And I I think Eternals was an okay movie. I know a lot of people did not like it, especially people that are really big on being true to the source material. Nonetheless, I think that the movie was pretty good. It's set up for a lot of things in the MCU, and we know the Eternals are going to play a bigger part going forward. Hopefully, we see more of Gilgamesh in the future. Because the movie was not, critically acclaimed, the value of all these Eternals books has gone down considerably, and for that reason, I'm definitely going to hold on to this book for now. Like I said, it's about $10 in the condition it's in. A higher grade one would be more like $20, $25. But I definitely see that this book has room to grow, given the potential of Gilgamesh in the future of the MCU. Next up, we got King Conan number 8. This is the first appearance of the god of the Sumerian people. I believe his name is Kron, Cron, I think. He is, the god of Conan's people, and that's about it for this book. Typically sells in the $10 to $15 range. This is more of a mid-grade-ish copy, so I kind of put it in the $10 value slot. Next, we got Superman 170. This is the first appearance of Mongul's sister, whose name is Mongal, which I think is so dumb. I wish they had given her own name instead of just a feminized version of Mongul's name, but it is what it is. I think that this book might be worth what it is, more due to the cover, this really awesome crypto cover, more than the first appearance itself, but I'm not really sure about that. I'm not a huge Superman guy, or I'm not even really that big on DC in general outside of Batman. So maybe you guys can tell me in the comments below what you think about why this book has some value to it. Next up, we got another DC key. We got Green Lantern number 81. I believe this is the death of Hal Jordan, if I remember correctly. And it's got this very 90s cover. It's embossed, it's foil, all that stuff, all the things you love about those 90s covers. Be careful. Look out for this book. If it's got the DC Universe logo right there, if it's that variant, it's worth a lot more than this one. This one's about $10. I think the DC logo is more like $25, $30. So look out for that one, especially if you can find a high-grade copy. Next up, we got What If number 45 from the second run of What If. And this is What If Hulk Went Berserk. It's a newsstand copy. And the thing about this book that people love is it's got this amazing Bill Sienkiewicz cover. It's got an awesome black background. Definitely Bill's style here. Really, really cool cover. In fact, I just picked up this book recently in a collection and it sold almost right away. So now I got this copy to replace it. Still in that $10 range, we've got Batman Returns. This is the book that goes along with the movie. It's the comic adaptation of the second Tim Burton movie. And it's got this really great cover featuring the characters with their likeness as they appear in the movie. I feel like this book has been a $10 book forever. Like 10 years ago, I feel like this book was $10. And today, they're still selling $9.99 on eBay all day. It's great. It goes along with the movie, especially now that Batman 89 is a thing, that the comic run that is picking up where the movies left off. Definitely a really cool book to have for a Batman fan. And we're seeing Keaton play Batman again, reprising that role. So that's going to be pretty cool. Next up, we got What If number 104, and this one is pretty interesting to me. This is in this story, basically, Impossible Man gets the Infinity Gauntlet. And I honestly think that it just being a story about the Infinity Gauntlet is what makes it a valuable book. It does have a great cover with, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Thanos, and obviously the Infinity Gauntlet front and center there. Just a cool, quirky little story. And I think that, people just pick it up for that reason. Next, we got Deathstroke the Terminator number 1, the first book of his solo series. Really popular character, and you know what I always say, when the first appearance of a character becomes very expensive, like New Teen Titans number 2 is, Deathstroke's first appearance, people opt to go for their first solo book, and that's what makes this book $10. Doesn't have really any key significance other than being his first solo book. I was surprised to see that there's actually a lot of keys in this run that are worth in the like $20 to $25 range. This one, though, is just $10. Next up, we got X-Men number 50. This is kind of the beginning of the Onslaught saga here. If you're not familiar with Onslaught, the character is the combination of like Professor X and Magneto's entities put together, and this features the first appearance of Post, who is the herald of Onslaught. Just like Silver Surfer is the herald of Galactus going forward before Galactus, we got Post coming in before we see Onslaught himself a couple issues later. Could this be utilized in the MCU? Maybe, but it wouldn't be for a while. But nonetheless, this cool foil 90s cover, key first appearance of a pretty popular saga. I think that's, warrants the $10 price tag. This next one is great, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Neil Gaiman's work, and this is his take on the Eternals. This was a mini-series from the 2000s, and the mini-series as a complete set sells for about $40 or $50, but issue number 1 alone is about $10. It is a key. It is a retelling, Neil Gaiman's version of the origin of the Eternals, plus it features the first appearance of 2 of the Deviants. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but check it out on Key Collector if you're interested in this miniseries. In my opinion, great miniseries to read, and the Eternals are here in the MCU. They're definitely going to stick around for a while. Maybe they'll pull some stuff from, this run. Next up, we got a classic indie comic character fighting some of our favorite superheroes. We've got Evil Ernie versus the superheroes. This is a one-shot book, standalone, and it features, we got Captain America down there. I think that's Silver Surfer up there. No, it's not. It's just a bunch of silver stuff. But we got like different hands and body parts of various superheroes on the front cover. Really cool indie book here. I was not aware this even existed, and honestly almost passed this book by in the collection. I pulled it out. I said, Evil Ernie's popular. There's kind of a cult following behind this character. So, in typical Evil Ernie fashion, it's bloody, gory, violent cover, and just a cool book to have. Next up, Lady Death Swimsuit Special number 1. Not really my style of comic, but there are a lot of collectors out there that like the more adult themes, the pinup comics and things like that. And this is a really great wraparound cover, meaning that her body continues onto the back cover, and you can open it fully to see the whole shot. Great cover, black background makes her pop really well, and $10 value here. Can't really complain about that. This next one is a pretty cool key that I was unaware of. We've got the Flash number 142. This issue is where Wally West, the Flash, gets married. I believe her name is Jennifer Park, I think. Jessica Park? Oh gosh, I can't remember. But yeah, anyway, he gets married in this issue, and for that reason, worth about $10. Next up, we've got Young Justice number 50, and this is one of the last issues. It might actually be the last issue in the Young Justice run. I forget exactly, but it is a later issue, so it's more scarce. I've talked about that a bunch of times, and it's got this great cover, white background, all the characters coming at you, really good stuff. And for that reason, sells for about $10. This collection also has Young Justice number 1 in it, but that book is in the $5 bin, so it's not featured in this video. It's a little lower value just because of the massive print run at the time in the late 1990s. Wrapping up our $10 books before we move on to the higher value stuff, we've got Marvel Comics Presents number 67. This features a team up of Superman and Santa Claus, and Honestly, the only reason this book is worth what it is because it's got Santa in it. I wish I had this before. I could have done like a Christmas giveaway with this book, but maybe I'll save it for next year and do a Christmas giveaway. Really cool little crossover, Santa and Superman both on the cover. Looks like it's Christmas night and Santa is dropping off those presents to all the good little children. Anyway, always look out for those weird holiday things. People do collect those and like to pick them up. That's it for the $10 books. Let's move on to the 15s. Coming in at $15 here, we've got a book from a run that I'm always looking out for. We got Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, number 10. Now, this character has been seen, voiced by John Mulaney, in Into the Spider-Verse. Hopefully, we'll be returning in Across the Spider-Verse, the sequel that comes out, late this year or next? I think it's I think it's 2023. I forget exactly. But anyway, this is a great little 17-book original run of Peter Porker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham, by Marvel Comics imprint Star Comics. And all these books are worth something. Like, none of them are like dollar bin books. Even the filler issue ones hold some value because I think people try to collect the whole set because it's only 17 issues. It's a fun little play on things. And this one is not a key, but I think people particularly like this one because it seems to have a little parody homage to Snoopy and the Peanuts gang, given that Spider-Ham is in this little Snoopy-esque doghouse. I think that might be what drives the price of this book up a little bit more. Most of the books are kind of in the like $7 to $10 range that are filler issues. The keys are more like $15 to $25, even $30. But this one I think just has that value because of the little Snoopy reference here. Also coming in at $15 is Wonder Woman 132, and this issue is controversial. It's got a swastika on the front. Definitely something that you don't see too often anymore on comics, especially on modern comics. You know, they definitely were around a lot in the 1940s and even 50s, but you don't see them as much anymore. And for that reason, I think collectors gravitate towards controversial things like this, and that's definitely one of them. Next up, we got Astonishing Tales, number 7, featuring Kazar and Dr. Doom. And I think I got lucky with this one because this was a lower value book until recently when we got some speculation in the MCU that Clint Barton's wife, Laura, might not be really just Laura Barton. She might be Mockingbird. We're getting some confirmation on that from the show. Hasn't been said formally, but we got the clues and hints there. Now, the original Mockingbird is Bobby Morse. This is Bobby Morse's second appearance. I'm not sure if they're going to have her be Bobby Morse and she changed her name, or if it's going to be a different character altogether, taking on the name Mockingbird. I don't really know what they're doing, but Bobby Morse's second appearance. Now, this is far before she appeared as Mockingbird. It wasn't until about 8 years later in Marvel Team Up number 95, I believe, where she teamed up with Spider-Man as Mockingbird. Prior to that, she did have a different name, and I forget what it was. Huntress. I think it was Huntress. I think she used that code name first before moving to the name Mockingbird. But this predates that, the Mockingbird name, by about 8 years, and it's her second appearance in this run. Next up, we got a book that's been in a couple of my videos recently, X-Men number 25. In this issue, Magneto removes the adamantium from Wolverine's skeleton. It's got this foily thing from the 90s, and I always say, look out for the version that has a messed up foil on it because it is significantly more valuable. This, though, is just the standard printing, worth about $15. This is a character that I know little to nothing about. We got Drama number 1. It's a one-shot. This is a character named Dawn. She was written by believe the guy's name is Linsner. I don't know really anything about this. I had to Google this book and try to figure out why it was selling for $15. This is the first appearance of Dawn in color. I think this is an indie comic that was originally black and white, and then in this one-shot issue, she was finally depicted in color, and for that reason, people go for it. Like I said, I know nothing about this character. Maybe you do, and if you do, please leave that in the comments below because I'm always down to learn something new about the books people collect. Next up, another book that would be very expensive, maybe like $30, $40 if it was in a higher grade. It is not. It's pretty low grade. We got Thor 182. I've been saying it for a while now. I made an entire video about it. Doctor Doom makes every cover look so much better. That is everybody knows it. Anytime there's a Doctor Doom cover, people are always like, that cover looks awesome. Doctor Doom's on it. We got Doctor Doom right here on the cover. Really big, prominent. Other than that, I don't believe this is a key outside of just being a coveted Doctor Doom cover and a 15-cent Thor issue. Like I said, it sells for about $30, $40. Kind of lower grades, like mid-grade, sells for about $20, $25. This one is a little bit lower than that, so I put it in kind of like the $15 range. Definitely going to give this one a good press before I do anything with it. Next up, we got a Classics Illustrated book. Typically, a lot of these are worth like little to nothing, especially the reprints. This is the War of the Worlds book, number 124, and this is one of the older printings of this book. Now, I learned something about the Classics Illustrated when I was doing some research on this book, that there are multiple printings of most of the books, and you can tell which printing it is by looking at the back cover. The back cover has a list of all of the Classics Illustrated books that have come out. So later printings are going to show more books. The first printing of this only shows up to book number 125, which is the issue after this one. I guess they had that planned out already, so they decided to list it on the back. This one looks like it is the second printing. It goes down a couple issues further, and they call it HRN, highest recorded number, meaning the highest number of Classics Illustrated on the back. So just something to look into. Earlier printings are obviously worth a lot more. A first printing of this book is kind of in like the $40 to $50 range. Like I said, this is the second printing, so it's worth something, but not nearly as much. Probably $15. Maybe since it's a little bit lower grade, a little bit less than that, but I include it in the $15 range here. Now, one more book before we get into complete miniseries. We've got Vault of Evil number 1. This book has some pretty good value. Again, this would be like a $40 to $50 book in a higher grade. It is not. It is a Bronze Age horror book. It's got some spine ticks and stuff on it. I saw a copy sell on eBay for $18, about in the same condition, and another one sell for $23, about in the same condition. So I value this one right in the middle of that at about $20. I love Bronze Age horror stuff, so this one's probably going to stick in my personal collection. I'm going to give it a nice press and clean first to see if I can, increase what, how it looks, make it look a little bit better. All right, next we're going to look at some mini-series that were complete that came with this collection. First up, coming in at a value of about $15, we've got The World's Finest, a mini-series from 2009. It's 4 issues. All 4 are here. I bundled them all together because I'm probably going to sell them as a group. Great little miniseries from DC from the 2000s. Next up, kind of in that same value, we got Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. This is a 3-part miniseries coming in right about $15. Great art depicting Indiana Jones as we know him, Harrison Ford. This next one I'm pretty excited about. I think I'm going to read this one myself. We got Gotham Underground. This is a 9-part miniseries. Sells for about $25 or $30. Oh, I love that penguin art on the 9th issue. yeah, like $25 or $30 on eBay is completed listings for the complete set. Great one to have. Definitely want to check this one out and read it and see if it's something that I'd like to keep for myself or if it's something that I will sell. Next up, I was very surprised to see this in here. We got an Alex Ross miniseries, Kingdom Come. Typically, this sells for between $40 and $50 for the complete miniseries, and I was stoked to find all 4 books in here. Not just that, but there was actually a second copy of book number 4. Great Alex Ross art. Amazing. Can't really beat that guy when it comes to, realism and stuff like that. And the final miniseries of this group, again, kind of in the $40 to $50 range, is DC versus Marvel from the 90s. This book spiked in popularity. I believe it was on the hot list this year at some point. At least number 1 was. But we got the whole miniseries here, 4 issues. And where's issue number 4? Uh-oh. I misplaced issue number 4. They're all here. I know it's somewhere. This one holds the most value, obviously issue number 1, but the other ones hold some value too, especially when you combine them all together in the nice little mini series. Love the cover here, especially because you'll see on either side of the line all the Marvel characters over here, all the DC characters over here, and they kind of correspond and line up to a character that's similar in some way to them. We got Lobo and Wolverine, like the wild guns here, and we got Storm and Wonder Woman coming at you. Really, really cool stuff. Definitely some nostalgia here for me from the 90s. I've never read this miniseries though, and I might crack into it and check it out. This number 1, though, is really, really high grade, and I might actually send it in to get graded. I haven't decided on that yet. Anyway, as you can see here, there was a ton of stuff. And I wrote down some numbers to share with you guys here. There were, if you added everything up that I kind of showed you in this video, it's kind of got a value right here of about $500 for these books. Now that's market price, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, what I think I'm actually going to get for it, because you can't sell anything at market price. Sorry, you can't sell everything at market price, especially lower value stuff. There were also a ton of $5 books, about over a short box worth. So I'm thinking probably 150 or so $5 books. So that comes in at about $750 as well. Then we've got $3 books. There are over 300 books that I have at $3. These do not sell super fast, but over 300 books, that comes out to about $1,000 worth of inventory there. There's about $500 books as well. That was, almost half of the entire collection was stuff that I'm going to throw in the dollar bins. Those are not going to sell very quickly, if at all. Dollar stuff, it's not like people are going in and pulling whatever books out of the dollar bins. They go every once in a while when someone wants something to fill a run or is really interested in a character or whatever. There were also a bunch of treasury editions, which are large, even bigger than magazine-sized comics. I'm actually going to do a separate video about them because I don't know a lot about them myself, so I'm going to do some research and then share that with you guys. And there were a bunch of graphic novels and trade paperbacks along with that stuff as well. The treasury edition stuff, there were about 20 books, kind of all in the $10, maybe $15 value. So let's say about $200 there. And the graphic novels and trade paperbacks, maybe $100 to $200, depending on, what they are and if there's complete sets and anything like that. So I added all of that up. Now, all of that up, if I were able to sell it for kind of what it's going for and sell off everything, that's about $3,000. Now, I don't think that is realistic by any means. When you get a bulk collection like this, you're not able to sell everything. You're just about never going to be able to sell everything, but you'll be able to sell some of it. So let's say I'm going to exclude the treasury editions, exclude the trade paperbacks, and exclude the dollar bin stuff. Then I'm going to add up the value of the $3 books, the $5 books, and all the books in this video, the complete miniseries, as well as the $7 to $15, $20 books. So that all comes out to about $1,250, $20, $2,250, maybe as much as $2,500. If I sell half of that for $1,200, somewhere around there, $1,100, $1,200. If I sell half of that, that is still a great return on my investment of $200 for this collection. Now, I put a lot of time into sorting this collection. I'm going to hold on to it for a while. It's not like a lot of this stuff is going to sell in the next month or the first convention that I do in 2022 or my first claim sale. It's going to take a while. And that's a good thing about these bulk collections like this, is it really loads you with some inventory that's going to last a while. You'll eventually be able to multiply your money, not just by 2 or 3, sometimes as much as 4 or 5 like we're seeing here, but it's going to take some time, and you're going to be left with a lot of it at the end as well. I'm sure some of the dollar bin stuff will sell. I'm sure I'll sell some of those treasury editions. So that's just going to add to the value of this collection. But I think for $200, I got a really good deal. I got some cool books here for my personal collection that I'm going to keep, as well as some interesting things that I've actually never seen myself before. So why don't you hit the like on this video and leave a comment down below. Let me know how I did, maybe answer some of the questions that I had and fill me in with some knowledge here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.